could make it. And is Facebook up, Ethel?
Yes, yes, John.
And so hello, everybody on Facebook. I'm going to ask if Angela, since you're always helping doing it, if you and Letiza, I know Anna's not here today, could bring over any messages that are on the
Yeah,
Facebook
sure,
side. And I
sure.
see Ashley's there quite a bit as well. So if Ashley, you could do it as well,
I'll
that'd be
be
fantastic.
here.
Thank you. Okay, so today we're going to look at the siennas. They're beautiful colors. And we have several brand ambassadors and several artists. And any of you and all of you are always welcome to paint along, and we'll showcase your what you've done at the end. So please, it always makes it much more interesting. Letiza or Ethel, who are we going to start with?
Okay, we can
Well,
start just in the sienna. So we have seven watercolors in our range. So the first row is with the first line is with the natural sienna. So we start with the lighter one, raw sienna light. Then we have raw sienna. Then we have Monte Amiata natural sienna. And then we go to the burnt sienna, Italian burnt sienna, quinacridone sienna, burnt sienna light, and burnt sienna. They have different pigments inside of them. So some of them are with one single pigment, and other have two or more pigments. That's it, John.
Starting, John, with a simple sketch. And I prepared this table with for mixing all the sienna with the lunar and hematite violet, Mayan blue genuine, jade, all the granulating color, and using the sienna with a lot of water, using in the filtering mode. Start with raw sienna light, very light, and distributing the transparent mode. I use the sequence. We have the texture before the filter.
You're glazing them, Giovanni.
Yeah. And the second is raw sienna. I use it as 17% of water, all the color. Very light mode. The third color is Monte Amiata, natural sienna.
Monte Amiata is one of the famous mountains surrounding Siena. There is a renowned town in Italy near Florence and Pisa in the Tuscany region.
First color is Italian burnt sienna. Start with the burnt color. This is not a mixing, but it's a glaze or a texture with the natural and with the beautiful color of sienna range. Very light mode. My light. And the fifth five color is
Quinacridone sienna.
quinacridone sienna. It's too strong. Very beautiful when I, for example, on the blue and green, because create a dark tone. The sixth color is burnt sienna light. interesting shade. And the last is bar sienna, but is it more strong? And in this mode, I study the undertones with other color, not mixing a glaze. And I have a many multiple shade. In this case, I remove the excess.
How did you choose the colors with which to glaze over, Giovanni? Is it the lunar black and the violet and all of these colors?
For, no, for
Your
the
choice?
for the granulating, for the different shade. For example, I love the shade of violet before the. I, in this case, I zoom in one moment. And I love this background for studying the texture with all the color. But for the sienna is very interesting.
Beautiful color.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
We can go.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gio.
Very welcome.
This is Jerome from France.
Very nice.
We'll just quickly, Letty and John, if you don't mind, we'll just quickly add in a frame Jerome's the other camera because this is his first time actually there to join us in the swatching. So to our guests, please meet Jerome, one of our brand ambassadors. Jerome? I think he's frozen now.
Do you hear me now?
Hear you.
Yeah.
So, okay.
There you are.
I have only one sienna, the quinacridone sienna. So I asked myself, what can I do with that beautiful color? And I decided to make portraits on the same base, on the same quinacridone base. I think it's a very good color for portraits, both in a very concentrated or with a lot of water. With a lot of water, you have some kind of pink, orange, or very light pink color, very interesting for bright skin. And when you use it more concentrated, you have very beautiful, also dark when mixed with other colors. So the first on the left is monochrome quinacridone sienna. And I did this 3 times before putting other layers and other colors. So the second one is lunar blue. I put on the quinacridone sienna. So it gives very beautiful browns. And the lunar blue you can see on around or there or there. The combination is very nice. It's a little cool addition. It's a little cool combination, but I looked for a color on the opposite side of the the color wheel. I tried to find one, and the lunar blue is very nice. And the third portrait is a same base on pure quinacridone, and then I put some quinacridone gold, green apatite genuine and a little quinacridone pink. And the quinacridone sienna works very well with all greens. So with the green apatite genuine also. Makes very beautiful browns. So that was my attempt with that beautiful color.
Very nice, Jerome.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Jerome?
I love that. So the second one is with Luna Blue, and the last one on the right is with what color?
A little quinacridone gold,
Ah,
a little green apatite genuine,
oh yes, that's right. That's
and
right.
then
Yes, I forgot.
quinacridone pink also.
Beautiful. Really beautiful. The same person, right?
Yes, the same portrait with different colors.
I like the change in warm and cool in the second one.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I have looked in my palette and I realized I have two siennas. One is the Montamiata and the other one is the Quin Sienna. And I like them both because they're quite vibrant. As you can see, this is the Montamiata. It's quite a vibrant one as opposed to like a raw amber. And what I thought I'd do today is just show you some mixes that we can do with them. And for this one, this is the Montamiata. I'm mixing it with jadeite and with which one is this? It's the cobalt blue. And this is the kind of mixes that I usually do is like a playing around with the colors to see what kind of effects and what kind of colors you can get out of them, how they mix together. The jadeite is a genuine a primitive color, so that will granulate beautifully, as you can see. And if you watch me on Instagram, every Thursday I do Three's Company mixes, and this is basically the same kind of thing that I'm doing now. And I'll just put some water on them and get them to move around a bit.
It
And
makes me smile. You going out of the lines, Mark.
that's on tape, so there will be lines. Sorry, the architect in me insists that there be some lines. So as you see, they just, I like this way of playing because we're really just playing with the mechanics of the water and the paint. It's letting them do whatever they want to do. And you'll see some colors dry faster than others, like the blues drying quite quickly. So that's the one mix I'm going to do. And then the second one is, what have we got here? We got the Quin Sienna, Indone Throne Blue, my favorite blue, and probably my favorite green, well, I use it the most, is the phthalo yellow green. And that mix we'll do on the side here, on the side. So wet it thoroughly because we want those colors to play around with each other. And then we'll start with the Quinacridone Sienna. You see how nice and luscious the color is. It's a gorgeous kind of sienna. It's similar to like a burnt sienna, but just a bit redder, and just a gorgeous luminous color, which I always go for. I always go for the luminous ones. Now I'll add some indanthrone blue, and I'll be careful with the indanthrone blue because it's a strong one too. And there you go. Let them play. And then we'll add the yellow green. Let's say the yellow green is also a very strong color. Let those play too. Put some in there. A little bit more in there. So it might look like a big mess at the moment, but once you add the water in and let them do their thing, you'll see you'll get some beautiful shades. Like even here, you can see you can get a beautiful, like a sap green, kind of a dark green. Just add some water to that.
Mark, Sylvia on Facebook has a great question. What draws you and excites you to work with three colors?
Because I think it's because I've studied the color wheel so much that you're looking at triads and you're looking at split complementaries, you're looking at familiar colors, and I just think, well, there are so many colors we can choose from. Why don't we just pick three? Sometimes some with strong luminance, some with a weak luminance, and just see how they go, see how they play around together. And you see how the paint just runs away. And on this paper, it also granulates beautifully. Sorry, the camera's a bit close to the paper, but yeah, that's going to take a bit of time to work our way around. But you can really see on this side here how the green and the Montamiatas mixed together. A very earthy, beautiful color. And then it's almost a abstract landscape with the blue sky. So yeah, I'm gonna let these colors play together for a while, and then maybe you can come back later, and I'll show you what they've done.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions for Mark? Okay.
What paper are you using?
This is Fabriano. It's not a cotton one. It's the 1264 Fabriano. It's a cellulose kind of paper, but the texture they put on it is lovely. And I do all my swatching and testing on this paper, and I can get it here in Canada as well. Yeah. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
And we have the Besniks next.
Hello, Besnik.
Hi, everyone. Well, siennas are like very well known, even from the oldest times. You already know, everyone knows that Caravaggio and Rembrandt used mainly siennas as their preferred of ochres. Lately, I suppose I have a few minutes to show the portraits that I have done, all mixed with different siennas. And then I will show these mixes that I did in meantime. So these are all mixes of sienna in the face. I won't be explaining where I have put the raw sienna and light and so on. I'm just going to show the works as fast as possible. So I strongly prefer the siennas for the skin tones, whether be it a dark tone or a lighter tone. In here, I have mixed different siennas with lunar violet and ultramarine on the hat. Moon glow is on the hat, and background is lunar black.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great portraits.
Thank you. I already finished with the portraits. In here, I have already written the names so the artists could see the differences. This is raw sienna light, raw sienna, which is one of my favorite siennas because everyone can do very nice mixes with raw sienna. This is burnt sienna light, Italian burnt sienna, cream sienna, which is very rich in pigment and very transparent, as you know, very nice, gives very nice mixes. Monte Amiata natural sienna. In here, I have mixed green sienna plus cobalt blue violet, and I love this combo of these two colors for abstract painting. This one also I love, green sienna with cobalt teal blue, and cobalt teal blue it's also one of our favorite. Everyone loves this beautiful color. In here is raw sienna light plus cobalt teal blue, and raw sienna with the rose of ultramarine. I found it interesting to mix and to see how it will react, raw sienna with rose of ultramarine, since rose of ultramarine has these two pigments of the also of the blue. So I see it's giving a beautiful reaction. I think I have time to do just another mix. I want to mix raw sienna, actually burnt sienna, with the rose of ultramarine to see the difference, because burnt sienna is a bit darker as a sienna. So I will be mixing it again with the rose of ultramarine. So in here I'm putting the first burnt sienna here and rose of ultramarine. It gives also some beautiful reaction here, which I really love, and some beautiful granulation. Maybe this is it. You can go ahead with another brand ambassador. In the meantime, I will do another mixes in these squares, so at the end we can show. Thank you, John, for your time, and everyone for watching.
Thank you, Besnik. Does anybody have any questions for Besnik? Okay.
And coming up next is Tom Shepard.
Oh, hi everyone.
Tom.
Hi. Okay, so I thought I would talk about raw sienna and quinacridone sienna because they are two of my total staples on my palette, and I absolutely love them. I'm quite a direct painter, I guess, so I don't do lots of layering, and actually my sort of combinations are fairly traditional. So what I wanted to show you here was something I use a lot, which is raw sienna and a blue. So I love raw sienna anyway. It's like kind of sunlight in a tube. It's that little bit, I guess, a little bit softer and lighter than yellow ochre with slightly different properties to it, which I really love. But two of my favorite combinations with raw sienna, I love it anyway in its own right, raw sienna. But I also love it for mixing kind of lovely soft muted greys. So have some raw sienna, and one combination I love is a little bit of cobalt blue in there. And you get these wonderful kind of soft greys, and you can shift the bias towards being a little bit more cool and blue, and then you can very easily shift it back with a higher concentration of raw sienna in different directions. And when you kind of let the watercolor do its thing and settle down. You get all of that kind of gentle granulation of the cobalt, sort of bit of underlying coolness, and then the warmth of the raw sienna sitting on top. I just find it a really easy, quick way to get to really lovely soft greys that can be kind of then tinted or pushed in different directions. So a way that I use that a lot is in these sorts of buildings. I love painting these kind of old buildings with sun on them. Although this is a French scene in the Cotswolds in the UK, we have a lot of similar coloured stones. So it's that kind of beautiful colour in the sunlight, and then you can kind of echo that colour but cool it down or grey it down in some of the shadows as well. So I find that like a really versatile start point. And then one of my other favorites, which is kind of similar, but it gives you something just a little bit different, is raw sienna, and a color that I completely overuse, but I absolutely love it. It's up there with cobalt teal blue for me, is lavender. And I find lavender and raw sienna is a really lovely color. Obviously lavender is quite heavy and opaque as a pigment, so I tend to be a little bit wary of using it too early on in a painting if I'm going to maybe put a second wash over the top. But either as a shadow color or a kind of soft gray again, but with a slightly different feel to the cobalt blue, I just love that as a combination. And depending on how much concentration you put in there, you get really lovely, interesting colors coming through. And again, it's that kind of combination of the cool and the warm, but because the lavender's that little bit warmer and more purpley, than the cobalt blue, it just gives you a slightly different feel. And here's a dried version of, I don't know if you can see that well enough. I know colors show up very differently on screen, but that's the lavender and the raw sienna together. I just think they look wonderful together. And again, you can shift the bias towards being a little bit more warm and sunny, or you can shift the bias towards being that little bit more purpley and cool. And then you can start to sort of migrate through the lavender and start pushing out into the sort of natural harmony of then a slightly more pink color as well. And they all kind of sit really nicely together and harmonize well, I find. So that's one of the ways that I use raw sienna. Love it by itself for a bit of sunlight in the tube, but then when you want those kind of soft muted grays that you can shift kind of cool and warm, I think it's really useful too. And then obviously, as a few people have said, burnt sienna, very, very traditional color, but I'm a huge fan of the quinaquidones. I love all the quinacridone colors for their kind of vibrancy, their transparency. And I tend to kind of err on the side of colors that have a little bit of a higher chroma. So really, really lovely bright colors, because I like lots of color. And then I can always kind of tone them down if I need. So quinacridone sienna for me has got all of the things I love about burnt sienna, but it's pushing into a much more vibrant orange color. And then what I love about that is similar to, again, a couple of people have mentioned, I love it as like a base color for portraits as well. Kind of that was very much rooted in quinacridone sienna. It's such a great kind of vibrant, warm color straight out of the tube. And then because it's already got, I think it's got a similar pigment to Indian yellow, hasn't it? But you can very easily kind of, with just a touch of yellow, you can really shoot it off into a lovely, vibrant kind of orange, or because it sits between, obviously, I think of it as like an earthy red, sorry, an earthy orange. So a little bit of yellow pushes it in that direction. And then equally, just a tiny touch of red, and you can push it in that direction. And then coming back to something like cobalt blue, or quite often I use ultramarine, you only need a tiny touch of that and you start to kind of mute it down a little bit more. And for me, that's a hugely versatile palette that you've got a beautiful color, either with lots of water or a bit more concentrated, as Jerome said, and as a start point, and then you can very easily push it in different directions. And I know it's made up of kind of multiple pigments, but I tend to work fairly kind of direct, so I very rarely do more than a couple of layers, so I've never had much of a problem with that. And the quinacridone, that beautiful transparency and that vibrancy of color, really comes out with quinacridone sienna. And then, yeah, as I said, you can kind of push and pull it cooler, warmer, more yellowy, more reddy, and all the colors again, they kind of harmonize around the quinacridone sienna. So I know there's lots of other wonderful, wonderful colours, but for me, that's my kind of fairly straight take on raw sienna and quinacridone sienna.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. Does anybody have any questions for Tom?
A lot of congratulations to Tom as a new brand ambassador.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations also to Jerome. So you are very good. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
From
Thank you
all
for
of us.
voting.
I couldn't agree more.
John?
We can go to Angela now.
Okay.
Ah, really? Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Okay. I did. I was starting another piece, but this is what I tested before
Yes, ma'am.
using. It's very bright, vibrant color, right? I used the raw sienna. I used all the siennas and mixed a little bit. Let me get rid of this for a moment. Here are all the siennas. The yellows, the Monte Amiata is here, and the raw sienna, and the raw sienna light. This field here I love, and mix it with a little bit of cobalt teal blue, and it is this very, very soft, like wash, very soft greens. And here is yeah, like Tom said, the quinacridone sienna and the burnt sienna here, they explode the color. This is actually with a couple of layers, and with the ultramarine blue. I love this combination. So it's all the seven siennas are here. I did also another lighter version that I need to finish, which is this, similar colors, you see, but this is much lighter. I need to do a second layer here. And this, I did something on rough paper, and it looks a bit dirty. It probably is, but I'm trying to work in negative, but also using all the siennas. You see the different effect from using a rough paper and hot pressed. It's very, very different. And at the moment, I'm starting to apply. I don't know, I will paint for a couple of minutes, and then another brand ambassador can paint. I try to, as you know, I try to wet my page quite a lot. It's starting to dry already. So I like my colors to flow. And this family of siennas is not a color that I would, in principle, use very much. But I'm so happy, John, that through these sessions, I discovered lots of colors, and I really am getting into them and love them so much.
Awesome.
So it means that you can love just any color and try to combine them. I have combined them with blues mainly, but also with some reds and lunar black and some other lunars, lunar blue, or also perylene. Perylene is perylene violet is another color that I love very much for mixes. So look how powerful this is. This is really, really powerful. But not all colors should be equally powerful. So it's about finding the balance. What I was using now recently, it was this one. It's the quinacridone sienna. And the one I'm doing now is the burnt sienna. It's a very lovely, as Tom said, for roofs and for Mediterranean.
Angela,
Yes.
couple questions. So first of all,
Yes.
Sylvia Thorne says hello to you, and she wants to know what is your clear board?
My clear boards, what do you call it? This one, you mean?
Yeah, yeah. Is it signboard or plexiglass?
Probably, no, it's probably plexiglass.
Plexiglass, yeah. Okay, and then the other question is from
Yes.
Julie. How did you
Yes.
get the granulation to move?
Just inclining the paper. You'll see it in a moment. If you leave me a moment, I will put another color here. And then I will lift the paper with the inclination. That's what does it. And with the inclination, right type of paper, you can get virtually not any color, but almost any color to granulate. I'm going to use now the cobalt hill blue. I don't have much on the palette, but wait for a moment and you'll see. Just a second, I need here some cobalt too.
Are
I
you
will
using the
incline
Balhong paper
my
again?
paper and you'll see it happening magically. But you need to be patient and not be afraid of making a mess because you'll make a big mess.
Is that the
Angela,
Balhong paper?
They naturally granulate. I think that they have the granulation in them. But I just did this. I didn't do anything else. Then it is very important also with that one, what I did. You wouldn't believe it. I'll show you now. Imagine what I will do now. I will do this straight from the tube. That's what I did with the other. Straight from the tube, and then just mix it.
so Angela, I think
I
we're
know it's
all
very
just
strong, but it
amazed
will come down. Don't worry.
at how much granulation you achieved. Do you say it's because you use the
So because
pigment?
it's so wet, doesn't
Yes.
really matter, you know. So I do that sometimes. I paint straight from the tube. Now I will use the Monte Amiata and do the same thing. I will put it in here in the lightest part.
I am impressed how skillful you open the
Oh, there's
tubes
no
with one
rush.
hand. Just one-handed.
Oops, this one had another color in it. Yeah, this one is clean.
Angela, can you
So
hear us? I don't think Angela can hear us.
Yeah, she
Ah,
has her mic off.
So you have to be very open to explore and then use a lot of water.
so John, would you say the secret to Angela's success
I don't know
then
if
is
you get
how
a
she
lot of
uses so
reflection
much paint?
from the light. Maybe you do.
Well, I think I think it's like
Can you see
everything
better now?
Angela not only is very knowledgeable about
You see
watercolor,
the
she's
granulation happening already here?
experiments quite a lot, which is the awesome
Then you
piece.
need to be patient and
Thank you.
wait until they take the effect.
No, I think she's back on.
So if
Angela, can
somebody
you hear
else would
us?
like to take over, I'm happy to continue with the painting and you can see the result at the end if you want.
Great.
I think to answer the question about
But I don't mind
pigment and
to keep painting.
granulation is that Nicholas showed us through our
Now
workshops with
I will
him
use something that I like very much, which is
Lunar
Sorry,
Black.
Caroline, you just muted.
Oh, that's okay. I assume she couldn't hear us, so I was trying to overlay. Um, from what we learnt from Nicholas is the granulation is about lots of pigment and lots of water. And the lots of pigment means that there's a good load of colour on your page because you're going to water it down a lot by lots of water. And the water helps to break apart the actual granulation or the substance of the actual paint itself. And that therefore it creates the granulation. If you don't have enough colour on your page and you put lots of water, you just wash it out. So that trick of lots of pigment and lots of water is the best way to achieve it.
Thank you, Caroline.
Angela has also said that she uses the hot press and that helps it flow.
Yes, very different. You get a more vibrant colour sitting on the surface of the hot press. Therefore, you see the marks faster and they're more detailed because it's not falling into the grain of the paper. Whereas if you use a cold press or a rough or a medium, a lot of the pigment falls into and soaks into the paper and you're not getting as much surface mark compared to the hot press.
So,
Thank you, everybody. I think we see that really displayed in Nicholas's work as well as Angela's. She really showcases that well.
John,
hello, Erkin.
hello. May I ask something?
Sure.
Does the temperature of water affect the behavior of the pigment when dissolving it? Hot water, warm or room temperature, or cold water, I mean.
So,
And also,
go ahead.
sorry,
Go
and
ahead.
also, is salty seawater suitable for dissolving the paint?
So seawater, I'm not sure, just because that's not something we would use to test. I know a lot of artists are using it, so that would kind of be up to you. Insofar as warm water versus cold water, that's not going to affect the pigment. What it can do is affect the gum arabic. The hotter the water, the more you're going to put the gum arabic into solution. Cold water, less. Ambient temperature, is probably overall always the best. But again, it's not going to.
Effect.
I'm sorry?
It's not going to affect the behavior of the pigment. It doesn't make any difference, as far as I understand.
It is not going to hurt the pigment. The pigment doesn't really care if it's too hot. If it's too hot, just like adding too much water, you're going to reverse the paint making process, which is why you can get a lot of granulation in a non-granulating color. And kind of what Caroline was saying is if you use a lot of pigment, that's okay. But if you're using a very small amount of pigment and a lot of water, you would actually just reverse the paint making process. And if you use too much hot water, you're not going to hurt the pigment any, but you are going to affect the gum arabic, which makes the pigment stick to your paper.
Okay.
But again, it's playing. I mean, as an artist, you want to be creative and try things, and you're going to end up knowing what you do and don't want to do overall.
Yes. Thank you, John.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the question. I love how you guys experiment. It's wonderful to watch you and what you come up with. Does anybody have anything to add for the seawater or for Erkin, the salt water? Because I know many of you do it.
Seawater would work very well on the paper because the salt will settle in the paper, which is dangerous for the laser that could produce mold if
Yes.
it's in humidity climate.
I live on the Oregon coast, well, near the Oregon coast, and I paint out there all the time. And a lot of time, I don't bother to bring water. I just use the seawater, and it gives it, depending on how saline it is, because it varies. It can give it kind of a little granulation effect.
Interesting.
Yes, interesting.
John, I was also warned about using ocean water because of bacteria. So if you were to sell your painting to someone who lived in a very wet climate, it could, I don't know if it was true or not. So what I do is I take the sea salt and I boil it in water and make my own kind of ocean water substitute. And I'll put it in a spray bottle and I'll spray the salt water in lieu of sprinkling salt. And that will often create neat effects as well.
Very cool idea.
Yeah, very clever.
Yeah.
Thank you. Those were great. Thank you. Giovanni, that's very nice. It almost looks like marble, like it's a piece of marble.
Yes, thank you, Joy.
Yes.
Starting from baseball with lunar black, cobalt blue with the sticks, and I use all the sienna and removing the with only with water for white effect. And now for the fine line, I use the burnt sienna light in the strong mode without water and for the Venus, marble Venus, and that's beautiful marble effects.
Beautiful.
Giovanni, do you lift the color in those strips? Do you lift the color?
È stato, hai tolto il colore.
Yeah, yeah. These parts, yeah, we did a flat brush, only with the water.
Very
Beautiful.
nice. Yeah.
Very beautiful.
That's so cool.
Is that hot press paper, Giovanni?
Yeah, use auto press.
300 pound.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Can we
Anyone?
ask anyone else from the audience, like Anna? Did I see Susan? Or maybe John or Dia? Anna is ready. Okay.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. So I have three of the siennas. I have there. Can you see it right? I
Oh
see
yeah.
it
Yeah.
backwards. Oh,
We see
okay.
it right. Yep.
So I have quinacridone sienna, which is lovely, and burnt. Sorry, I was sketching different burnt sienna and Monte Amiata sienna. So I followed a little bit of Mark, what he did with some experimentation, and I combined his two ones. And then, given that Anna Maria is not here, but she is in spirit because I'm following her advice from last week, saying to combine from this is my travel palette. Sorry, I wasn't. This is my travel palette. And so I combined quinacridone sienna with each of the colors. And so I'm just except for transparent sorry. Oh, I should there. I have I have transparent pyrrole orange, and so I substituted quinacridone sienna to see how, because they're very similar, but they're very different as well. And they behave a little differently. So I think it's a great exercise to combine whatever your palette with the color that is featured today. So that's what I have. Oh, and one more thing. I'm also doing a little bit of experimentation with, so I did these like background colors, combining Mount Tamiata, the three colors I have as a background. And because I saw this online, and so then you have like the background, and then you draw on top of it. And this is with the ochres from last week. So and you get this kind of effect. I have another one here which with very different sorry. There, this is so you can do very cool things with all the colors like that mixed up, and then you draw on top. And I think it gives a very fun effect for sketching. I'm using it for urban sketching that I'm in. So see, this is your background with the mixed colors, and then you do this. So that's and so thank you for knowing that I have the siennas, because I could get a little ready for the session today.
Thank you for sharing. That's very nice.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, Anna.
That's a fun idea. I love that.
It is very fun. Yeah, I recommend it. It's very fun. Yes. What is the color for next week? Do we know?
I don't think we know yet.
Oh, okay. Surprise then. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mark,
Let's
were you gonna
ask.
show something? I'm sorry, Ethel, go ahead.
I was just wondering if Lo has swatched along, or Susan? Lo?
Didn't swatch along, but I had some stuff from earlier this week, and my questions are really detailed. So, for example, for this Quin Sienna, it's so lovely, and I tried to mix it from some of its components. Does something, when you mix them to make the watercolor sticks, for example, are you putting the three colors together, or is there something else involved in the manufacture? Because you're getting this gorgeous granulation from the PO48 to kind of replicate if it were a source from the earth, for example. Can you speak to that a little bit, John?
On the quinacridones, I can't see it.
So for the when they're made, if I took my quinacridone sienna and broke it down and rebuilt it from the components, is there something else being done during the manufacture, or is it a simple combination of the three pigments that go into the mix?
So it's the gold, the azo, and the coral. And it's different amounts. How to put that? So it'd be much harder for you to do by taking 3 tubes, for example, because say they were all 100%, one of the components may only be 4%, right? So it's really the amount of concentration of each of the pigments as well. The way to read it's just like food you buy. The first one always has the most, so it would have the most quinacridone gold. The next would be nickel azo, and the next would be quin coral. Although those two could be an equal amount, so they could all three be equal amounts. But rule of thumb is the first one is the most.
Yeah. No, it's fun to break them down and learn about them that way. Break them down into the components and try to kind of replicate the mixes and see what behaviors, are coming out of each. And then I also was curious about, when you go from, how do you make the decisions about where things are sourced? Because you have some that are natural from the earth, right? And then you have some that you're recreating from oxides and manganese oxides in the lab. And then you have like the Quin Sienna, which is beautiful, but there's no sort of classic, I guess, oxide component. So can you speak to that difference?
Hey, Lowell,
Yes,
your scientist is showing.
I'll stuff it back in. I love the chemistry. The chemistry is what just took my sinker.
You're asking the best questions.
They are really good questions. So the quins are, they're absolutely perfect. Their quin means 5 rings. It's a 5-ring structure that has the alpha and beta particles on it that give it the different colors depending on where they are on the chain. And that's just huge chemistry to make that stuff work the way it does. The stuff that comes from the earth is fun because you can actually hold it in your hands. And many of the native Indians, Inuits, found them in riverbeds, etc. Many of our siennas actually come from the laboratory because we're getting them from industry, and we want them to be absolutely perfect. It's hard to have something non-granulating if it's imperfect. Imperfect really lends itself greatly to granulation. You can get that in the synthetic world, but it's not as often that you can make that happen at a single pigment level anyway.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun.
Oh, the chemistry is fascinating. I mean, I only had 2 quins or 2 siennas, sorry. So I took my Quin Sienna and my burnt sienna and then played and tried to warm up that Quin Sienna to approximate the burnt sienna by introducing a little bit of umber, which should have a little bit of manganese and hematite, right? To boost it. So no, the mixing is just fascinating. Thank you so much.
Somebody said that earlier in the today. And maybe what we can do is we can take the C-Lab and do the way the colors are laid out, and we can say we want to get to this color and show how we can get to that color, even if there's no exact opposite. We can show how to move it to get very close. I think people would enjoy that. It's not really mathematical. It's more fun. So if you guys like something like that, we can do that. I play with it myself. It's actually quite a bit of fun. So maybe I'll set a time that we can play with that. I think you'd enjoy it. Awesome. Do you want to recap quickly, Ethel? See where everybody's at in their paintings. And thank you all for doing it. Lowell, thank you for your questions and thank you for sharing your artwork. So Ethel, are you loading them?
Yes.
Maybe. There we go.
Anna's. Jerome's is there.
I'm just dying to ask this.
Oh, Diane has an artwork.
Can I
Oh, I
ask?
love the deers. That's nice.
Can I ask Angela a question?
Yeah.
Angela, I'm dying to know what that big weird brush is that you were using.
Which one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
One is a Nicolas Lopez signature brush by EO. That's the brand. EO, a Korean brand.
Say what brand? What brand?
EO.
Oh, EO. Thank you.
Yeah. That's a Korean brand. It's difficult to have them. We get them in Fabriano normally because they have a shop there.
Oh, wow. I've never seen one like it. Thanks.
Yeah, okay. We have this too.
There's a request if you could have a closer look on Besnick's keys. I think we have about 3 minutes left. There's a request, John, so we'll just put for maybe just for few seconds. There's a request if we could have a closer look of Besnick's grid. Okay, let's do it quickly. Okay, Besnick.
Okay.
Yeah, this is beautiful mix of rose sienna with French ultramarine. In here you can see the mix. If you mix it with dull blue, it doesn't give some gray, but this is much better if you mix it with ultramarine blue. Here it's rose sienna with Peruvian scarlet. Here is mixed with the rose of ultramarine, rose sienna. So these ones you already saw, I think.
Questa bel satinato, abbiamo potuto vedere il film.
Okay, and we'll put everybody's frame back.
Juicy mixing, Besnick.
What did you say, Stella?
Juicy, very juicy mixes.
Yeah, these last, these two on top are more wet on wet. These two.
All of them.
Yeah, let's put them on spotlight.
That's beautiful, Angela.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it, Angela.
Thank you.
Diane.
This one is bright up.
And Geo, I love the structure.
Yeah, me too.
Also,
Okay,
Jerome,
Mark's is
very nice
there.
portrait.
Anna's.
Left Tom grace, beautiful grace, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom, I love your grace.
have-
Very beautiful grace, Tom.
Thank you.
Where's Tom's now? Oh, there, Tom's there.
These live sessions are so precious for all of us. We see so many combinations.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing.
And the best thing is that you can go back to them whenever you want.
Yes,
If
they are
you're
really precious.
your time zone, whatever, you can watch them again.
Beautiful works. Thanks to all ambassadors.
Yes, thank you.
Nice
you,
painting,
Diane.
Diane.
Thank you, Erkin. Hi,
John.
Erkin.
Hi, Besnick.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking part. Thank you for all your questions. I'll
Thank
see
you,
you, hopefully see you tomorrow. If not, see you next week. Take
Thank
care.
you so much.
Bye-bye.
See you all tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.